Hello! In this tutorial I would like to show you how to recode or transform variables. Sometimes we might want to group categories or values of a variable together. For example, you may want to change a continuous variable into a categorical variable, or you may want to merge the categories of a nominal variable. To understand this better, we will again use our example with heights of 10 people. Let's say that we want to group our observations based on the height in a way that the groups will always include intervals of 10 centimeters. That means that we will have people between 161 and 70 centimeters in one group, 171 to 180 centimeters and in the second group, and so on. Let's see how you can do this in SPSS. To recode a variable, we have to go here to the menu bar up and click on Transform. Here we can see two options for recoding variables in SPSS: recode into same variables and recode into different variables. What is the difference between these two options? Recoding into a different variable transforms an original variable into a new variable. That means that the changes do not override the original variable, but instead we will see a new column in our data view. The second option, recoding into same variables, makes changes permanently to the original variable, and the original values will be replaced by the recoded values. I would say that in general it is a good practice not to recode into the same variable, because you never know when you will need to use the variable in its original form again. So after this explanation, I hope it is clear why we will choose recode into different variables now. When we click, we can see the dialog box that lists all the variables in the data editor on the left side. We can do a right click and click on display variable names to see the variables more easily. And since we want to recode the height of the people, we will choose the height variable and we will transfer it to the box in the middle by clicking on the arrow. We then need to name the new or the output variable here on the right side. We can type a name for our new variable in the box labeled name. Let's call it height levels. Height levels, perfect. And we have to use the underscore as we cannot use space for a variable name here. And you can give this variable a more descriptive name by typing something in the box called label. Let's type there, for example, height level groups by 10 centimeters. Now, once you are done, you click on change, and we can see that our height variable will be transformed into height levels here in the middle. Okay, now we need to tell SPSS how to recode the values of the height variable into the values of the height levels. To do this, we click on Old and New Values. This dialog box allows us to change values of the original variable into different values for the new variable, and we can either recode a range of values, we can see these options here, or a single variable or a single value, which is up here. In our case, we will recode range, and now we have three options. We can either type values manually here under this option range and in these two boxes, or we can choose one of the two options here, range lowest through value or range value through highest. What is the difference between these two? Well, range lowest through value will recode all values less than or equal to some number that we will state here in this box. And range value through highest will recode all values greater than or equal to some number, to the number that we state here in the box. So, in this example, let's for example use range lowest through value, and that means that we will get recoded all values less and equal to a number we will stay here. So now we can create categories by 10 centimeters. Notice that on the left side we have old values You have the name tag up here, and on the right side we have the new value. So to know where to start, we need to have a look on our lowest observation. The lowest number is 162 centimeters. So we will create our first category, which will include all values up to 170 centimeters. So we will type 170 here, because we are using range lowest through value, and this takes, I say it again, all values less than or equal to some number, so it will take all values less than 170 and 170, and we want to name all these or recode all these values to group number 1. When you have done this, click on Add to add this change, and we need to do this for all remaining groups. So we go here and we type now 180. All values up to 80 will belong to group 2. All values up to 190, group 3, we edit. And last 200 value will belong to group 4, and we edit here. Okay, once you are done, click on Continue and here on OK. Now we cannot see anything in the output, but our new variable will appear as a new column in the data editor. As you can see, we created 4 categories of people with different heights. We can see the height level, new variable here, and the number of the group where a person belongs to, according to the condition we stated. We can now even name these categories and give them labels so that if we work with them further, they will have a specific name. We will do this by going to Variable View. We can see that our new variable is new in the list in the row 5. And now we go to Values column, click on it. We can see a dialog box, Value Labels, and here we can specify that people in the first group, so 160 to 170, so the value of the group is 1, will be labeled as low, and we add it to our list. Then people from the group 2, so 170 and 180 centimeters, will be labeled as middle. The third group, 180 to 190, will be labeled as high. And the last one, group number 4, extremely high, for example. Extremely high. Add. Okay. You can use whatever category names you want, so this is just an example. Let's finish this. Let's click on OK. And let's have a look in the data view. And now you can already see the name tags that we have just created, the labels. You can always switch by clicking on Value Labels menu picture, so here you can transfer it. Now you have the number values, and now you have words and labels. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to tell you. There is one important note I would like to mention. When recoding variables, do not forget to handle the missing values if you have any in your dataset, because the most common recoding errors happen when you don't tell SPSS explicitly what to do with missing values, and SPSS recodes missing values into one of the new valid categories. That's it. Thank you for watching the tutorial.